What's up guys? I'm back at it with another lap review where I take one of your laps and break it down at a track I've actually driven. Today we've got Larry in his fully modded Porsche 718 Cayman GT4 RS. Larry is currently living the dream as he just went sub 220 at COTA. In this video, the goal is to give him just enough input to help him do it consistently. Let's dive in. I'm Felix Alisardi, an 8-year veteran of HPDEs and Trackdays, a certified PCA instructor, and I drive a mostly stock GT4 RS. I've turned some pretty spicy laps at COTA and a few other tracks, and today we're reviewing Larry's lap in his blue GT4 RS. The goal here is to learn together and maybe poke at Larry just a little. This car is basically a COTA rat, fully kitted out and very capable. From the outside, you can see it's running the full Dundon catalog, big wing, splitter, and dive planes. For suspension, it's on MCS 3-way adjustable dampeners, plus adjustable arms to get the alignment properly dialed. To note is that Larry is still on the stock exhaust, and for now, he has no engine power mods. So this is very much a chassis plus aero plus tire recipe. Add to this 19-inch wheels, gyro disc brakes, their track pads, and who's your R7s. Bottom line, Larry is deep into this setup, and it's a seriously capable machine. Larry, I know you're watching this, so comment below. How much do you think you have into the car all in? For this review, we're looking at Larry's best lap at COTA, a 219.77. He's running a race navigator 3-camera data system so we can see what the car is doing and also what he is doing. I'm going to play the full onboard of the lap first, and then we'll go back and dissect it corner by corner. Alrighty guys, let's get into it. We have Larry coming down the front straight. His car is ripping, he's at 136 mile an hour. Great approach into turn 1 where he didn't crab in. And turn 2, I'm gonna make this super quick. His line is great through 2, and I feel like this is gonna be a commonality also because I've driven this car. I feel like his car needs a little bit more front end, but then I feel there's also a little bit more to explore for Larry through there because this is an aero car, and as you're going through to, it should gain front end if set up properly. So great line through 1 and 2. A lot of people like going later at 1. I think that's a great line the way he did it. Here, there's definitely more speed to be carried in. Okay, so you ate a lot of 4. And the reason you ate a lot of 4 is because ate a lot of 5. The reason for that is because 3 to 4, you want to be as straight as possible. But on exit of 4, you do want to like shoot the car right. And the way to easiest do that is to be late at 4. So be rotated as you're going through 4, let the car go right, and then make the car go left into 5. So there is like a shooting out right of 4 that he needs to do a little bit more of. That way he's just not all over the 5 curbing. Great line through here. Larry always does a great job of staying right at 6. There, if we look at the throttle, he kind of stayed at like 10% for a while. And I prefer there to be a big input, a big release, versus kind of just staying in what I'm gonna call like no man's land. So right here, he's just like chilling. Go to throttle for a little bit longer, chop it off, and get the nose that way versus keeping the car like in limbo with not allowing to turn as well by just keeping like 10% of throttle in it. So get in it, get out of it. That'll give you the front end, and then roll power out of it. Let's go back here, because I spoke over 7. So here you're gonna see it down here. Power. I like this line a lot through here, through 8. There was always big to jump on the throttle in big increments. He almost kept it flat through 9, which is ideally where we all want to get. Next to 11, let's see. Keeping his line. He's, what I would say, a little bit too late. If you look at the screen super slowly, let's look at the screen here. And for some reason, his brake pedal is not working. If you look at the screen here, you can see where he's actually, like here, the car gets a little bit of excess rotation. So he's obviously extracting a lot out of the car from there. I wish you could have seen how much trail brake he moved into 11, but let's check out turn 12. And obviously the amazing part about this lap is he's got a rabbit that's pretty quick in front of him and within reach, so that's awesome. Big brake pedal input, he keeps it. Thought you didn't trail brake, Larry. That's a good, great trail brake. I think he might have crabbed in a little bit. Don't kill me. He stayed right, he stayed right, he stayed right. So yeah, he started crabbing in a little bit early, but still not terrible. Uses all the track, which is what we want to see. Here, big brake. Okay, so here I think is where we have a big chunk of time for you, Larry. Into 13, if you look at it on a map, it just looks like it looks close to a 90-degree right. But at the apex, I do feel like there's a bit of a camber gain, or there's a little bit of elevation. You got big brakes, came off the brake, you went to throttle, so that's gonna set up a understeery car on the way in. Instead of going to like, you're going to a 10 brake, go to like an 8 brake, come off the brake, but keep some in it and let the car, what I'm gonna call, float on the way into 13. You do not want to be grabbing throttle or aggressive throttle much earlier than the apex. That just means you overslowed entry. So easiest way to say it is let the car float more into 13. Your car will have the front end post 13 because it has it now with throttle. So it's going to have it with less throttle. So send it a little bit harder on the way in. And I think there's plenty of lap time for you there. This is a great line through here. You could hear the car is kind of bogging or in traction control a little bit. I think that's a great line through here, through 14. Yeah, the car here is also, you could hear it go whoop. Great line. Gives it a little bit of wheel, then turn. Yeah, dialed in line. I wonder where he got that from. There's a little bit of more space on the track out, but it's pretty good. Again, Larry, we find ourselves in that throttle no man's land. Stay in the throttle, stay in the throttle, stay in the throttle. If you're gonna let the car turn, give me a big lift to set that nose versus kind of just easing off. Honestly, if your car didn't have that much front aero, or if you were like on a stock aero car, you'd never get the nose. Like the nose would never respond to the input you just gave it. So you're kind of getting away with it, quote unquote, because obviously the car has a ton of aero grip. But still, let's still work on the fundamentals of setting the nose, right? Versus kind of just sending it in there and kind of just being like, send it in there, big lift, get the car to rotate. Either way, it's a really good line. You missed that inside apex, by the way, but I'm sure you know that. And here, I don't mind UVing the carousel, kind of entering a little bit wide, making it sharp in the middle section, and then hugging the later part. We did have a lot of track on the left-hand side, so I feel there's actually a lot of space. If there's space on the left, there's speed to be gained, right? That is gonna make moving right before 19 way harder. But as you start carrying the speed out of the carousel, you'll just figure out that you need to brake a little bit earlier as you're moving right, but you are doing that. If we go back a little bit here, look at this. You got all the space on the left that I want you to be using, and you're at 108 miles an hour, so your car's making plenty of downforce and can help you move the car back right. So yeah, you're already braking as you're moving right, which is perfect. Super soft release. I like that release a lot. Big brake pedal input. A little. You crabbed in a little here to 20. So crabbing just means like you're starting to move left before you make the big turn. You wanna open up the track as much as possible. I could see the car has a little wiggle on entry, and that just means that you're letting the car float. Just like you're letting the car float there, I want you to do the same thing at turn 13. And that's probably me in front of you in the yellow GT4. Hopefully I didn't throw away the next lap for you, but at least you got your 219. Excellent line. Now we're gonna go into a takeaway for you, a few takeaways for you and a few takeaways for me, okay? So the one big takeaway for me, as I am a non-believer in this, but Larry just proved it, is a fast lap can be done without like an insane number of corrections. I still like that your wheel, you could see your wheel here, and you could see where in some places you were giving it small inputs. But could be that your car is crazily capable, but you literally just proved me wrong by doing a flying lap without huge inputs like I'm used to seeing. That's my takeaway. Now, a takeaway from you is I go back to turn 13 and turn 20. Sometimes it's good to go back to a map and see it on paper. Once you've done the track so many times, we kind of get away from looking at an actual map. And by looking at the map, sometimes you'll realize this corner is very similar to this corner, or I should have the same approach. For example, turn 20, you're carrying that speed into 20. And I feel like 13 is very similar, but the opposite way. And obviously 20 has a straightaway, this one has another connected corner. But this is where I feel like maybe going to a few different tracks gets you more different types of corners under your belt. I do recall you saying that you've been to a couple small tracks where you used to live, but the solution to this is I feel like you need to join us for our summer trip. Once you get VIR, Barber, like all these tracks that have tight sections, I think that's gonna show you a lot about your car, its capabilities, and then once you come back to COTA, I think you'll be ripping. Now, the second takeaway for you is, and I know your car, you've been doing it slowly, is we need to start doing changes to your car. You and I both know, and we could see it on the video, there's a couple places where the car needs a little bit more front end. I know we already experimented with ESC, TC, and all that stuff, and those are big changes. But I feel with the way your car is currently set up, we could probably add 1 or 2 clicks or soften the front of the car by 1 or 2 clicks, low speed compression, just to get you a little bit more front end. This video was pretty clean on your throttle traces, but I did look at a lot of your laps. And some of those, I do see a lot of like the stabbing of the throttle, which I do a lot. And I think we could get rid of a lot of that by just giving you a little bit more front end. If you'd like to get your lap reviewed, send your footage plus a quick description of your car and mods to media@sagamotorsports.com and drop a comment down below. Do you think there's more lap time in this combo for Larry? And where do you think the biggest opportunity for him is? If you're part of the mid-engine crew, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. That's it from me today, guys. I'll see you in the next one or at the racetrack.